economy out of the current situation by adopting a civilized approach towards solving the farmer-herder clashes in the country. The president said this in Brazil as the government takes a step further in the development of the livestock sector in Nigeria. State House correspondent Musbah Danwahab has a report.
The Nigerian delegation on tour to learn the Brazilian experience in livestock production are back on the table with their findings.
Okay, please.
President Bola Tinubu certainly wants a sound footing for the takeoff of a newly established Ministry of Livestock Development. So, learning from the right hand is the watchword as the delegation visited 3 conglomerates here, including JBS, a Brazilian multinational company, largest meat processing enterprise in the world.
Your Excellency, we are convinced that the life sector reform being implemented today has a lot to learn from the Brazilian experience, and the private sector here represented have shown strong commitment to partner along and replicate the successes in Nigeria.
I think we've come to the right place. We've got the right partners. The issue now is how to proceed step by step.
And we'll do our very best to ensure that what has been done in Brazil is replicated in Nigeria.
And to support whatever venture you are driving. But as a state, United States, we are providing ourselves as a pilot state. Already we have identified about 1.2 million hectares ready for this production.
What we are trying to do.
The man who sees opportunities in the current challenge in Nigeria's livestock sector obviously has the plans thought out already.
We are solving a problem that afflicted humanity in that part of Africa. Clash between farmers and migrating cow shoulders and all of that has caused some life and bloodshed. So when there is a modern civilized way to solve those problems and even bring a successful economy out of it.
President Tinubu believes that in only a matter of time, the solution to the sector would also solve another challenge of food security.
Food security is extremely important. As we talk right now, there is hunger. However, there is huge hope. And you are one of those hopes that we are looking at.
Both parties have now agreed to collaborate as expressed in the letter of intent and set to proceed to the first phase of a cooperation to maximize the entire value chain of the sector.
Brazilian captains of industry here who have been part of this engagement today are going to visit Nigeria for exploratory tour to see what's going to happen, select suitable sites, where we're going to have suitability of land, fertility of land, availability of bodies of water for irrigation, as well as possible for hydro, as well as growing of corn, sorghum, sweet corn, soybean, as well as ease of transportation to manage the logistics, and then availability of markets.
The key aspect will be that for you to have a successful livestock industry like he has described, they also need feed. And that feed has to be produced. And that is where the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security will come in.
The foreign partners are expected to visit Nigeria soon for the immediate study tour. From Rio de Janeiro, Musbah Danwahab, Nta News.
Still from Rio de Janeiro, Niger State has signed a $5 billion ethanol offtake agreements with a Brazilian company to develop sugarcane production potential of the state. The agreement is to set up plants in the state for the production of sugar and its byproducts. The state's delegation, led by Governor Muhammad Umar Bago, leveraged on Nigeria's participation at the just concluded G20 Leaders Summit in Rio de Janeiro to conclude on the partnership. Learning from the first two leading producers of sugar in the world, Brazil and India, the governor says his state, with the largest land mass in Nigeria, is hoping to maintain a leading position in sugar production while also becoming a hub for agriculture generally. He believes that apart from the imminent huge job opportunity, the investment will have a multiplier effect on the national economy. The federal government has restated commitment to improving healthcare delivery in Nigeria, especially in rural areas. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila reports that Vice President Kashim Shettima gave assurance when a delegation from the West African College of Physicians paid him courtesy visits. He highlighted the appointment of Professor Muhammadu Ali Pati as a coordinating minister for health and social welfare, noting the minister's deep understanding of the health sector, assuring members of the professional body of government willing to work with them. Recalling his efforts to support healthcare education in Borno State, the Vice President said in 2014 sponsored female citizens of the state to study medicine and surgery abroad. Leader of the delegation, Dr. Jeremiah Aboy Madaki, commended the Vice President for his support for the 48th Annual General and Scientific Conference of the West African College of Physicians. Madaki expressed optimism about the government's commitment to improving health care systems, even as he shared the communique of the conference with the Vice President. The Supreme Court has nullified the National Lottery Act 2005 enacted by the National Assembly. The judgments followed the suits filed in 2008 by Lagos and some other states. Ruling on the matter, the Apex Court, in a unanimous judgment consisting of 7 members, held that the National Assembly lacked the powers to legislate on issues relating to lottery and games. In a unanimous judgment, a 7-member panel of the Apex Court held that such powers only reside with the state's Houses of Assembly, which possesses exclusive jurisdiction over lottery and related issues. In the late judgments by Justice Muhammad Idris, the Supreme Court resolved the 2 issues identified for determination against the Attorney General of the Federation and 1 other listed as defendants. He granted all the relief sought by the plaintiffs. He declared that lottery or games of chance is not one of the items on the exclusive legislative list contained in the Constitution, in respect of which the National Assembly has the powers to make laws for the whole of the country, and proceeded to issue an order nullifying the entirety of the National Lottery Act. Justice Idris also issued an order of perpetual injunction restraining the first defendant, either by himself or his agents or any other agency of the federal government, from implementing the provisions of the National Lottery Act within the territories of the plaintiff states. 109 foreigners who were arrested in Abuja for their alleged involvement in cybercrimes, fraud, theft, illegal residence in Nigeria, and gambling have been ordered to be remanded at the Kuje Correctional Center. Justice Ekerete Akpan of the Federal High Court, Abuja, gave the order following a request by their counsel to have their names regularized on the charge sheet.
Their document, and then there is issue of interpretation. And the language issue is there. So we are coming to our notice that some of them, the names on the charge sheet does not reflect their travel document.
What the court did was to play safe by saying, okay, go and put your house in order. If the accused persons are not properly charged, that means you are arraigning the wrong person.
The defendants are from Brazil, China, and the Philippines, and the adjournment of their case to November 29 is to prepare them to proper arraignments and trial in line with the Cybercrimes Act 2015. As a week-long activities of the 65th National Council on Health aimed at advancing the successful realization of 2030 universal health coverage comes to a close, Minister for Health, Professor Muhammad Ali Pate, has called for swift implementation of deliberation made during the meeting to ensure overall transformation of Nigeria's healthcare system. Tina Toro reports.
At the closing session, the National Council on Health focused on key areas, including the establishment of the Family Health Department and strategies for improving maternal, newborn, child, adolescent, as well as elderly healthcare services. Several policy documents were officially launched as part of determination to ensure a robust outcome. Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Muhammad Ali Pate, who launched the documents, emphasized their significance in improving the Nigerian healthcare system, noting that the documents were designed to enhance the well-being of healthcare workers and provide a comprehensive framework to guide the planning, training, and deployment of human resources within the sector.
I would like to urge all stakeholders to implement these policies effectively and ensuring no one is left behind. I implore every state to adopt these guidelines wholeheartedly.
We have about 171 institutions or local government areas in Nigeria where the maternal mortality is very high. So this will be the target age where, we'll make sure that, at least the curve going up is bent so that you can have results as soon as possible.
Policy documents launched at the meeting include the National Policy on Health Workers Workforce Migration, the Nigerian Health Workforce Profile 2022, and the National Social and Behavior Change Strategy for Nutrition across the life cycle in Nigeria. The minister was emphatic that the documents would serve as key reference points for policymakers, health professionals, and stakeholders as they work to strengthen the nation's health system and ensure sustainable development in healthcare. A communique outlining the key resolutions was presented by the Permanent Secretary of the Federal Ministry of Health, Dr. Daju Kacholo. In Maiduguri, Tina Toro, NTA News.
The National Biosafety Management Agency reassures unwavering commitment towards health and safety of Nigerians. Hence, the rigorous scientific process undertaken before appending its credibility seal on products for public consumption. Director General of the agency, Dr. Agnes Yemisi, reaffirmed the agency's stance during a press briefing in Abuja, where she canvassed for public trust towards navigating the complexities of providing scientific breakthroughs, especially genetically modified organisms, GMOs.
Undergoes rigorous scientific scrutiny and strict regulatory procedures to ensure it meets the highest safety standards.
Acting Director, Planning, Research and Statistics, Scholastica Bello, solicited the cooperation of Nigerians in backing the agency in its bid to ascertain the efficacy of consumable and ensure food security and sustainability.
Whatever MBMA says, it's safe. It's safe because our concerns are 3, and these concerns are put into cognizance in all our processes, starting from identification of doubts that you want till it gets to the farm. And even after the farm, regulation, monitoring, assessment.
National Biosafety Management Agency, NBMA, through acts establishing it, is saddled with the responsibility of ensuring the safety of products, which they do through rigorous scientific procedures, tests and analysis in conjunction with other sister agencies. You're watching the late evening news at 11 on NTA News 24. We take a short break now. We'll be back shortly. For efficient Hajj operation, the Senate is emphasizing the interest of pilgrims to supersede any other concern. This was during a public hearing on a bill for an act to amend the act establishing the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NACON, convened by the Senate Committee on Foreign Affairs. National Assembly correspondent Joshua Ogunjide reports.
The National Hajj Commission of Nigeria is saddled with the responsibility of regulating state pilgrim boards and tour operators. The bilateral air service agreement between Nigeria and the Saudi Arabia authorities of 2015 resulted in a 50-50 quota on air flight.
The process will be pre-qualified in conjunction with the expert from the Ministry of Aviation, the Hajj Commission, which is coordinating, and then the states.
These states of federation, including the FCT, find the NEWS11 while advising that the NACON Act 2006 be revisited.
Why we went on the 50-50 agreement is simply because we didn't want to pay $100 to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia royalty. That is the only reason.
There are terminologies that were used in the proposed bill, airline agencies. We needed to be guided properly.
So you are making Nigerian pilgrims to pay twice. They pay for 35 days, and not all pilgrims will stay in Saudi Arabia until 35 days, and they pay for another 5 days of the contract in Mashair.
Both the regulator and the operator are supposed to be complementary. They are not in a competition.
If we decentralize NCAA and other agencies in aviation, we'll have that problem of dealing with 37 or 36 states.
Wallahi, no matter the amount of money we make, one day we'll stand before Allah. Our chairman is a new man.
Well, I think the states are asking to be allowed to choose among the ones approved by NACON. What the states don't want is for NACON to say you must use this carrier.
From the National Assembly, Joshua Ogunjide, Nta News.
The federal government, through the Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation, has reiterated its commitment to unlocking the nation's water potential for national development. Stakeholders gave this assurance at a workshop on National Action Plan to harness water resources for food security and alleviate poverty. Usman Zubairu reports.
One of the primary approaches Nigeria has taken to combat poverty is through economic diversification. Historically relying on oil revenues, the government has identified economic diversify as a way of reducing dependence on a single sector. This action plan workshop is one of the 8-point agenda of the Tinubu administration aimed at harnessing water resources for food security and poverty alleviation in the country.
The workshop is also expected to provide global best practices that would address the needs of our farmers and promote sustainable development.
Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation, Professor Joseph Yusuf, who declared the workshop open, said this gathering is imperative in reflecting on present challenges which require urgent and concerted effort to address them. He noted that Nigeria is blessed with abundant water resources that can be harnessed to ensure food security, poverty eradication, and job creation. Among the key areas of deliberation, the minister said water resources management and agricultural development enable optimal utilization of river basins.
Together we go a long way to empower and mobilize communities to actively participate and contribute towards enhancing water resources for food security and poverty alleviation in Nigeria.
Expected outcomes identify innovative strategy and best practice to enhance water resources for national development. Usman Zubairu, NTA News.
The National Productivity Center, NPC, is intensifying efforts towards enhancing productivity and efficiency in Nigeria's public sector. Director General of the center, Bafa Baba Den Agundi, made this known when he received a consultancy team from the AIG Imokwede Foundation. He says the center is collaborating with the foundation to achieve the current administration drive to boost managerial and operational competences of Nigerian civil servants at subnational level through the utilization of innovative productivity improvement tools and techniques. The training is to also strengthen capacities for effective policy design and implementation with a focus on enhancing economic growth and public sector service delivery. Both parties had earlier signed an MOU on March 19, 2024 to kickstart the project in Ondo, Kebbi, Borno, Edo, Lagos, Nasarawa, Sokoto, Anambra, and Bauchi, Imo, Kwara, Rivers, and Taraba State, with agriculture, industry, and the service sector earmarked as pilot areas. You're watching the late evening news at 11. We take the headlines now. President Tinubu promises lasting solution to clashes between farmers and herders in Nigeria. Supreme Court nullifies National Lottery Act in all 36 states except the Federal Capital Territory. "109 foreigners from Brazil, China, and the Philippines arrested for alleged involvement in cybercrimes. The new National Star newspaper has honored outstanding contributors to journalism with awards to celebrate excellence in the media industry. Among distinguished awardees was the Director General of the Nigerian Television Authority, Salihu Abdulhamid Dembos, who received a prestigious award for his remarkable leadership. Patricia Esamiluba has details.
Together, some of Nigeria's brightest minds in the media and beyond, who were awarded with 2 different categories of award totaling 35. Marking 5 years of impactful journalism, the Managing Director Obinna Nwachukwu highlighted the significance of this milestone and the influential personalities shaping the future of media in Nigeria.
We have seen cases where 20 to 30 million voters are registered and less than 10% of that number are recorded during elections.
The keynote address centered on strengthening democratic institutions and electoral systems in Nigeria, as the theme specifies.
Through the entire spectrum of our history, the mass media, the journalism profession, and those of you who are practitioners have been the main vehicles of bringing this country thus far.
It was a thought-provoking discourse that underscored the vital role of an independent media in safeguarding democracy and promoting transparency in governance, while the lecture emphasized on a well-informed electorate backed by robust institutions, which the speaker said is key to sustaining democratic process. As such, the evening honored exceptional individuals who have made significant contributions to the media industry. And among them is the Director General of the Nigerian Television Authority, Salihu Abdulhamid Dembos, represented by the General Manager International, Oganya Simon, reaffirming NTA's commitment to driving excellence in media practice.
Our DG, Comrade Salihu Abdulhamid Dembos, has done a lot in the last few years. If you watch NTA, you know that we've evolving. He's a game changer. Things are getting better every day, and we promise Nigerians that we'll continue to get better and we'll deliver the best service.
Other award recipients echoed similar sentiments, applauding the organizers for creating a platform to celebrate achievements while challenging practitioners to uphold the highest standards of professionalism. Highlights and heartfelt moments of the dinner and award night also showcased Ambassador Phil Roberts and a national dance group to the thrill of the guests. Patricia Esamiluba, NTA News.
That concludes the news on NTA News 24. I am Comfort Fashion. Thanks for watching.